She's got leverage sitting in her line of credit ready to go to work. There's $16,000 at the end of 3 months that if she needed to fix a car, pay a bill, wanted to take a trip, she has leverage available sitting inside of this line of credit that she could access. It is accessible to her by debit cards. Again, 284 is where I started. 251 is where I'm sitting at the end of 6 months. In 6 months, we've knocked off $30,000 on this line of credit. And we talked a lot about a debt tool. Specifically today, we're talking about a home equity line of credit, but there are different types. Can you use a credit card to do velocity banking? Absolutely. Can you use a PLOC or BLOC? Absolutely. Can you borrow from your self-directed 401k for 50% what's in it, up to $50,000, and use that dollar amount to assist in this process? Absolutely. What about leverage against cash value life insurance policy? What about leverage against stocks and your stock portfolio? Meaning there are other opportunities, other vehicles that we don't even talk about. So this is not the only path. I just find it to be a very efficient path to go after a line of credit. And again, do we have enough information as of right now based off our current situation? Do we know the answers to these questions as it relates to our income? Yep, we know it's about 10K. So we're good on that. And yep, we're good on because she's using first lien HELOC for a debt tool. What do we know about first lien HELOC's product? We know it has a sweep account. We know it offers checks and a debit card. We know you can pay bills directly from that line of credit. So it's an awesome tool. Go ahead, sweetheart.
We know that they've designed it for people wanting to use the strategy. Yeah, exactly.
That is correct. That is correct. And we know she's got about 31K in debt, and she's got a 284K that she wants to pay off. So we have a fair amount of information, and we know we're wanting to use a first position HELOC. But what about the cash flow? Do we know the cash flow? Well, let's do the math and better understand the cash flow, because I think we have almost enough information, just don't fully understand the cash flow as of yet. Well, what I wanted to dig into is better understanding her cash flow. So I'm showing month 0. What I'm saying is before she implements velocity banking, where does she currently sit? Is what I kind of wanted to walk through. So again, I'll zoom in some areas so we understand her income. She's making about $10,000 a month, and that income goes right into her checking account, and she uses that income to address her bills. She uses that income to address her debts and her expenses. And she's got this mortgage payment of about $3,056. She's got a total bills when you do electric, gas, all of that kind of fun stuff. It's about $31.75 a month. And she does have some debts. Again, she's got some credit card debts. And I want to say that credit card total is about 31K, if I'm not mistaken. She seemed very, I'll call it, not concerned around the credit card debt. She feels as though she could eliminate that at any point. And so her main objective was she wants to get rid of this piece. And so when you add up her current expenses and her debts, it equates to about $6,600 a month. And so if we are comparing her income to the bills that she's paying and the debts going out, her cash flow is sitting at about $4,000 a month. Okay, let's do some simple math. $4,000 a month, 4 times 12, that's 48 grand a year. What could you do with an additional $48,000 a year? And how about this? If I've got $48,000 a year, do I need a line of credit to be able to pay off this mortgage? Like, what if I just put an additional $4,000 a month onto my mortgage? Like, that could happen. And that's why this is sitting here. If she were to simply take that $4,000 a month, multiply that by 12, 48 grand, take that $48,000 and just dump it into the mortgage, this home will be paid off in 6 years. She's 50. Go ahead, sweetheart.
But would she have a penalty for paying early?
That's a great question, because it's very possible. A lot of times banks and their mortgages realize that this is their main source of income from you. So the last thing they want you to do is pay it off early. But would I take a prepayment penalty to have this home paid off in 6 years? I think I might take that fight. Meaning, I doubt the prepayment penalty is much more than maybe, let's call it 10 grand, which is stupid. But regardless, would I pay an additional 10 grand to not have to pay 25 years of interest? All day long. So my point is, for those of you who may be wondering whether or not this is even necessary, I'm kind of with you. With the cash flow that she has, this home will be paid off in 6 years. But let's be clear. She's 55 years of age. Let's say she uses this cash flow to pay off this home, and it takes her 6 years to do it. At 55 to age 60, 61 is now the new age after paying off this home. Did paying off this home produce any financial freedom for her? Did paying off this home do anything more than eliminate a debt? It did not put any extra money in her pocket. And if the goal is to retire at 65, because remember, that was the goal. It was, hey, I'm 55, I want to pay off this home, I want financial freedom. Oh, and I want to retire by 65. Putting $284,000 into this home and not being able to get anything out of it other than no longer having a mortgage, how did that help her achieve financial freedom? How do you put it, sweetheart? You can be debt-free and broke at the same time?
Sure can.
So even though this is possible, I don't find that to be the right solution. And now let's go a step further. When people are asking me, hey, should I get a HELOC, a line of credit? Should I get a first position or a second position? This is what matters to me. What you have in cash flow should determine whether or not you should or should not get a product like that. If she only had $400 in cash flow, but she wanted a $284,000 line of credit, my answer would be no. But because she's sitting at 48 grand a year in cash flow, 48 grand a year going into a line of credit is going to crush this line of credit, which means she would have this product paid off pretty fast. So based off her month zero status, I think she's in a solid position to be able to handle this line of credit. And again, just to understand what it is, we're talking a 7.625 first position home equity line of credit for $284,000, and we're going to use this to pay off the mortgage. The mortgage will be eliminated. So, okay, let's say we eliminate this mortgage. What does month zero look like when we pay off this mortgage using the line of credit? And again, I'll zoom in areas, but ultimately, I no longer have this $3,000 a month payment, but I did pick up an $1,825 interest only payment. How does this process look and what happens to my cash flow? So that's where, in this case, the cash flow shifts. Because I am no longer paying that mortgage, which was $3,056, but I am paying an interest only payment of $1,825, $3,056 minus $1,825 allows my cash flow to then increase because my debts, my expenses are decreasing. So therefore my cash flow goes from $4,000 a month up to $54, $52, almost a $1,400 or over a $1,400 increase in my cash flow. Pretty positive. So now I have even more that will allow me to pay off this line of credit quickly. And so in that case, now it's all about doing the strategy. And what's the strategy? As my income comes in, it's going to jump into my checking account. And the way first lien HELOC works is once it jumps into my checking account at midnight, everything in that checking account gets swept into this line of credit. And I have the ability, or she would have the ability, to then pay her bills from this line of credit. And again, there's nothing going to the mortgage, but she's got her normal bills of $31.75, and she's got the additional increase in her debts of about $21.95. But once all of that is done, this $54.52 is now sitting on this line of credit, driving this balance down. So what does that look like in month one? And I'll zoom in. But in month one, again, income came in, jumped into my checking, it was swept into my line of credit, I paid my bills, and then at the end of month one, that $284,000 balance dropped by the cash flow that I have, leaving an ending balance in month one of $278,548. So the process is working. And again, there's a lot that I am assuming. There's a lot that I am not concerned with. And let me just share one here. That $1,825 interest only payment is based off this total balance of $284,000. Yes? But at the end of month one, after this cash flow is sitting on this line of credit, the interest rate is variable. The interest rate is based off the performance of the HELOC or the balance in the HELOC at the end of the month or at the start of the next month. which means the interest rate owed for month 2 is based off a new balance of $278,548. Can we just agree that it's $1,825 in month 1, but in month 2, it would not be $1,825. It would be something less than that. I won't say it's less than $1,800. All I'm saying is the interest owed on this line of credit drops as the balance on the line of credit changes. Why is that important? Well, in this particular example, I am not going to change that $1,825, meaning I'm going to keep that interest-only payment the same for the life of this example, which means this is the worst case scenario. And the other piece that I wanted to throw in that, it's because that 1825 is going to change, is going to fluctuate. And what happens if the interest rate changes? Right now, this is based off 7.625%. I don't show the interest rate changing either. So to compensate for the change in the interest rate, I am keeping the original interest amount through the life of this example. And I am confident that I'm providing the worst case scenario, meaning any other version of this, it just makes the numbers better. So with that being said, we're sitting here at month 1. And again, we just followed the first step, and that was dropping the income into the line of credit, paying bills from the line of credit, and that cash flow ending up dropping the balance in month 1. So what does this look like over, I'll call it a succession of months? And again, we started with a line of credit of about $284,000. As we jump through the months, by the end of month 3, the new balance on the line of credit would be somewhere around $267,000. And again, I am basing this performance off the same interest throughout. But can we agree that there would be a difference of interest owed on a balance that is almost $20,000 less? She's making considerable headway. And in addition, if anything happens, she's got leverage sitting in her line of credit ready to go to work. Meaning there's $16,000 by the end of 3 months. There's $16,000 at the end of 3 months that if she needed to fix a car, pay a bill, wanted to take a trip, she has leverage available sitting inside of this line of credit that she could access. It is accessible to her by debit card. And then you run this through for the remaining few months. We're sitting at somewhere around $251,000 after 6 months. Again, 284 is where I started. 251 is where I'm sitting at the end of 6 months. In 6 months, we've knocked off $30,000 on this line of credit.